Imagine a book written back in 1949. You know, the kind yellowing pages, maybe that old library smell. It's the one you probably read in high school. A story about a gray, depressing future.
Right. Jumpsuits, telescreens, that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Right.
But what if that book didn't feel like a history lesson?
Hmm.
What if it didn't even feel like fiction, but, I don't know, like a news alert from tomorrow morning?
That is a chilling thought. And honestly, that's exactly where we're going today.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are tackling a giant, George Orwell's 1984, but we're coming at it from a really different angle.
A very different angle.
We're looking at a source called Totalitarian Echoes, an auditory analysis of 1984, which is a deep review of the audiobook. And its whole argument is, well, that you don't really get the horror of it until you actually hear it.
Precisely. The source argues that 1984 isn't a novel you enjoy. You don't curl up with it. It's a warning system. And it makes this bold claim that reading the book lets you keep it at a distance.
You can look away from the page.
You can look away, but listening. The review calls it a slow, unsettling realization. It's the difference between looking at a picture of a cage and hearing the door lock behind you.
That is a heavy way to start.
Hmm.
But I think it's necessary because, let's be honest, 1984 has become a bit of a meme, hasn't it?
No, absolutely.
We throw around Big Brother or Orwellian for, a traffic camera. I feel like we've sort of watered it down.
We have. It's become shorthand for government doing stuff I don't like. So the mission today is to strip all that away. We're going to look at why this story feels, as the source says, disturbingly modern.
Okay, so let's get uncomfortable. Before we even get to the audio part, we have to ground everyone in the world itself, Oceana.
Right.
The source lays out these 3 pillars of existence under the party. What are they?
So pillar 1 is physical. Every movement is watched. That's the obvious one. Pillar 2 is verbal. Every word is monitored. But pillar 3 is, that's the one that really gets you. It's internal.
Every thought.
Every thought is potentially a crime. That's thought crime.
Which is just a wild concept. The law is supposed to stop at your own skull.
Not here. Here, the intent is the crime. It's total suffocation. And to make it all work, the party uses these paradoxes. You've seen the slogans, I'm sure. War is peace.
Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. Yeah, every time I hear them, my brain just it glitches. It doesn't compute.
But that's the point. The source says it's not just a slogan, it's a psychological weapon. It's designed to break your logic. If the party can make you accept that war is peace, you've just surrendered your critical thinking.
You're basically saying, okay, you tell me what reality is.
Exactly. And in the middle of all this, we have our main guy, Winston Smith. He's not some action hero.
No, he's a bureaucrat.
A bureaucrat who works at the Ministry of Truth.
The irony of which is just staggering. His job is to do what exactly?
He alters historical records. The party says something that contradicts what they said last week. Winston's job is to go into the archives, rewrite the old newspaper article, and then throw the original down a pneumatic tube.
Into the memory hole.
Into the memory hole where it's incinerated. He's literally burning the past to make sure the party is never, ever wrong.
So if they promise more chocolate, but then they cut the rations.
He rewrites history so they always promise less chocolate. It's gaslighting on an industrial scale.
Industrial gaslighting. I like that. Okay, so this is where the source pivots. Why does listening to this change the experience so much?
It's all about intimacy. When you read a book, you're in your own head. You're projecting your own voice. But the source explains that with the audiobook, you're trapped inside Winston's head. You're hearing his internal monologue whispered in your ear.
So his anxiety becomes your anxiety.
Exactly. The review calls it real and claustrophobic. When he's terrified that the telescreen can hear his heart beating too fast, you hear that panic in the narrator's voice. It's in your headphones. You can't get away from it.
And the narration style isn't like super dramatic.
No, and that's the key. The narrator has this calm but unsettling tone. The source talks about the emotional weight and silence. A pause isn't just a pause, it's dread. It makes the interrogation scenes later. They're almost unbearable to listen to.
You can't just skim past the painful part.
You have to sit in the room with him. Okay, so let's dig into the first big theme the source pulls from this. Surveillance. We all know Big Brother is watching you, but it's deeper than just cameras, right?
It has to be.
It is. The source brings up this idea called the panopticon effect. Are you familiar with it?
Vaguely. A prison design, I think.
Right. An 18th century philosopher, Jeremy Bentham. It's a circular prison with a guard tower in the middle. The prisoners can't see if a guard is actually in the tower. They just know they could be watched at any moment.
So because you might be watched, you act like you are being watched all the time.
Exactly. And that is the absolute horror of the party's system. They don't need to watch everyone all the time. They just need you to think they might be. You start to police yourself.
You become your own guard.
You do. And the source makes a really sharp point about this feeling disturbingly modern.
Oh yeah, our digital world. We carry tracking devices in our pockets. We curate our lives for an audience we can't even see.
We self-censor. We hesitate before we type something, wondering, how is this going to look? That hesitation. That's the panopticon effect at work. We're building our own telescreens.
That's a scary thought. Okay, theme 2, the control of truth. This one I think is even more mind-bending. The source has this line, if the past can be changed, the future can be controlled.
And that's the core of the party's power. It's not about military might, it's about controlling information. If you have no objective record of yesterday, how can you argue with today?
You can't. You only have your own memory, and if everyone around you is saying you're wrong, you start to think you're going crazy.
Exactly. The source calls this the fluidity of truth. Truth isn't a rock, it's water. It takes whatever shape the party needs it to. One day the enemy is Eastasia, the next it's Eurasia.
And it has always been Eurasia.
Always. Even if you remember fighting them last week, it disorients the entire population, leaves them helpless.
Which brings us to the tool they use for this, newspeak. I think most people get newspeak wrong. They think it's just, I don't know, weird political jargon.
It's so much more sinister. It's the weaponization of language. Newspeak is the only language in history designed to get smaller, to shrink. Every year, they remove words from the dictionary.
And the source had this quote that just stopped me cold. If you remove words, you remove the ability to think freely.
It's a brilliant and terrifying concept. If you get rid of the word freedom and all of its synonyms, liberty, rights, autonomy, how do you even form the thought of wanting to be free?
You wouldn't have the mental tools for it. It would just be this vague unhappiness you couldn't name.
And you can't organize a rebellion around a vague unhappiness. By limiting language, they limit consciousness itself. It's like hacking the human brain by deleting the software.
It's so subtle, which leads right into the next theme. Psychological manipulation. The party doesn't just want you to do what you're told.
No, simple obedience is for amateurs. The source says they want to break minds. True power isn't forcing you to obey. It's making you believe lies willingly.
The whole 2 + 2 = 5 thing.
Exactly. It's not enough that you say it equals 5. They want you to look at 4 fingers and, in your heart of hearts, genuinely see 5. If they can make you deny the evidence of your own eyes, they own you completely.
Okay, this is all just incredibly bleak. Is there any hope in this analysis at all? The source mentions love is rebellion.
Well, yes and no. There's a character, Julia. Winston starts this secret relationship with her. In a normal story, it's just the romantic subplot.
But here it's a political act.
A deeply political act. The party wants all your emotional energy, all your loyalty directed towards Big Brother. They try to destroy friendships, family bonds, everything. They want you isolated.
So just by connecting with another human being,
You're creating a private world that the party doesn't own. You're reclaiming a piece of your humanity. The source has this great insight. Love is dangerous in a world that thrives on isolation. That connection is the biggest threat there is.
but we need to be real with people listening. The source gives a pretty stark verdict on how this all turns out. It says this is not an easy listen.
Not at all. It's emotionally heavy, it's dark, and spoiler for a 75-year-old book, it does not have a happy ending.
It ends badly. It doesn't end with everyone getting a medal.
It ends in total defeat. Winston is broken. But the source argues that the discomfort you feel, the depression, that is the point. Orwell didn't write it to inspire you, he wrote it to scare you.
It's a slap in the face, not a pat on the back.
Correct. It's meant to wake you up. The source says if you finish the audiobook and you feel a little sick to your stomach, then it did its job.
So wrapping this all up, the review argues that 1984 isn't really a prediction about the future.
No, not at all. Its final point is that the book is about human vulnerability to control. It's a timeless warning about how fragile our own minds are, how easily we can be convinced to police ourselves.
It really leaves you with these huge questions like, who controls the truth in our world right now?
And how much freedom do we actually have? Are we thinking freely, or are thoughts being guided by algorithms, by news cycles, by whatever the current narrative is?
It feels necessary, though. It's like a vaccine. You get a little dose of the virus to wake up your immune system.
That's a great way to put it, because the source's final verdict, the one I think everyone should take away, is this. The greatest danger to freedom is when people stop questioning.
That's it, right there. It's not about fearing the government. It's about fearing our own complacency.
Precisely. The moment we stop asking, is this true, or why am I being told this? That's the moment the prison door closes. The moment we just accept the narrative is the moment it becomes reality.
So as you go about your week, you're scrolling through your phone, looking at your feeds. Maybe just pause for a second, look at the words on the screen, and ask yourself, are you thinking for yourself? Or is something else doing the thinking for you?
And if you don't like the answer, pay very close attention to that feeling.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah.
Stay curious, stay questioning.
And keep listening.